Allo, allo, it's Nia. Welcome to AI Creator World Podcast, the place where creators learn how to grow faster, build smarter, and turn artificial intelligence into real opportunity. Here, we explore powerful AI tools, content strategies, personal branding systems, and new ways to create income in the digital era. If you are building something online, you are in the right place. Let's begin.
Imagine waking up today, grabbing your morning coffee, and, just opening Instagram or TikTok like we all do.
Right, the usual morning routine.
Exactly. And you start scrolling and you stop on a video from a creator you've been following for, I don't know, maybe about a year.
Okay.
And they post these just flawless daily insights. I mean, the video is stunning. The caption is deeply engaging. They're in the comments replying to people.
Always so active, yeah.
Right. And they're sharing these little personal anecdotes on their stories. You really feel like you know them.
You feel that parasocial connection.
Totally. You feel a real connection. And then you realize something completely jarring.
Oh, this is the best part.
Right. That entire digital presence, that seemingly tireless human being outputting all this creative energy every single morning,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually running on a $40 a month software stack and like maybe 2 hours of human input a week.
It just shatters the illusion entirely, doesn't it?
It really does. It completely breaks your brain when you first realize it.
Because we are so conditioned, especially in this creator economy, to believe that consistent, high-quality output requires just a grinding 24/7 hustle.
Oh, absolutely. The hustle culture is so ingrained in us.
Right. When you see someone posting high-value content every day, the natural assumption is that they are chained to their desk.
Like they're constantly filming, constantly writing.
Exactly. Perpetually bordering on burnout just to feed the machine.
Which is exactly why looking at those feeds can feel, honestly, incredibly paralyzing if you're a listener trying to build an audience yourself.
Oh, I hear this all the time. People just give up before they start.
Yeah, because you look at that output and think, I already have a full-time job. I have a family.
I physically cannot generate this much creative energy every morning.
Exactly. But what if the people winning the attention game aren't actually generating that energy every morning either?
That is the big secret. They absolutely are not.
So today, for you listening, we are pulling the floorboards up on the digital creator economy. We're doing a massive deep dive into a highly tactical roadmap.
Put together by the AI Creator World team.
Yes, exactly. It's essentially a masterclass on how AI influencers are creating content every single day and the simple systems driving massive growth right now in 2026.
And the overarching mission here really is to completely dismantle the myth of the tortured, constantly working artist.
Yes. We want to tear that down completely.
Because if you are out there building a personal brand or launching a niche account or even managing a business presence, you're going to want to take notes on this.
Oh, for sure. Grab a pen because we are going to extract the exact operational backbone.
The specific tools, the automated workflows.
Right, the stuff that actually allows these accounts to dominate the feed without their creators, totally losing their minds.
Let's get right into it because we have to start by completely rewiring how we think about time and creativity.
Yeah, before we even look at a single piece of software.
Exactly. We need to tease apart the difference between what the audience sees.
Which is that illusion of daily spontaneous creation.
Right. Versus what is actually happening behind the curtain in the factory.
So we are moving from the illusion of the daily grind to the reality of the batching model.
That cognitive shift is literally the only way any of this works.
Okay, so break that down for me. What's the foundational premise we're working from today?
The premise is that the defining difference between creators who stall out and those who grow exponentially is not raw talent.
It's not just being naturally funnier or better on camera.
Not at all. And it is certainly not having a massive production budget either. It is entirely about systems.
Systems over slog. I like that.
Right. The creators who succeed have learned to aggressively separate the heavy, cognitively demanding work of creation from the light, mechanical work of distribution.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second because this feels a lot like Sunday meal prepping.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, like think about it. If you try to cook a gourmet, nutritionally balanced meal from scratch every single night.
Right after you get home from a long day at the office.
Exactly. You are going to end up exhausted and you're just ordering a pizza by Wednesday. The friction is simply too high.
Because the mental energy required just to decide what to cook is huge.
Right. Deciding what to cook, finding the recipe, chopping the vegetables, cooking the protein, and then, cleaning all the pans.
It's totally overwhelming.
It is. But if you do all that heavy lifting on a Sunday afternoon,
The chopping, the roasting, portioning everything into little containers.
yes, exactly, then your daily routine during the week isn't cooking at all.
Your daily routine is just hitting a button on the microwave.
Boom. 2 minutes and you have a perfect meal.
What's fascinating here is that it is exactly like meal prep, but with one massive algorithmic difference.
Oh, what's the difference?
Well, if you leave a prepped meal in the fridge for a week, it degrades, right? It gets a little soggy.
Yeah, nobody wants day 5 salmon.
Exactly. Yeah. But if you leave prepped content in the scheduling system, the algorithm actually rewards you for it.
Wait, really? The algorithm prefers it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because what we are talking about is reducing daily cognitive load and ensuring absolute consistency. Ideation, scripting, generating images, writing captions, that is the heavy lifting.
That requires being in a flow state.
Right. And if you try to enter a flow state every single day, you will exhaust your decision-making capacity so fast.
You just run out of juice.
So instead, the daily routine for a highly successful AI influencer is surprisingly brief. It's often just a 15 to 20-minute microsession.
So they are not waking up in a cold sweat on Tuesday morning thinking, what on earth am I going to post today to appease the algorithm?
Not at all. During that 20-minute daily window, they're essentially acting as a project manager, not an artist.
Okay, a project manager. What does that actually look like in practice?
They log in, they review the content that was already scheduled days ago.
Just giving it a quick once-over.
Yeah, just ensuring there are no glaring errors. Then they maybe reply to a few high-value comments from yesterday's post to keep the community active.
Right, doing the engagement dance.
And then they log off.
Huh.
They're managing the output of a system, not generating the raw materials from scratch.
We really need to drill down into why this consistency is just non-negotiable, because a lot of people push back against this.
You do. The purists, mostly.
Right. They say, I'll just post when inspiration strikes. I want my art to be authentic.
Surely a masterpiece posted once a month is better than good content posted every day.
Exactly. But the reality of the landscape in 2026 operates on cold, hard math.
It absolutely does. And the math, quite frankly, does not care about your fleeting inspiration.
Wow. Brutal, but true.
The platforms we are talking about, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, they are businesses.
They sell ads?
Exactly. Their algorithms mathematically favor consistency because it ensures predictability for their ad inventory.
So if they know I'm going to post at 9 a.m. every day, they can sell ads against that attention.
Right. Accounts that post every day or just maintain a highly reliable schedule are actively prioritized in the distribution networks.
They get pushed to the front of the line.
Yes.
Yeah.
They grow their follower base significantly faster than sporadic accounts. And here is the kicker.
Yeah.
This happens regardless of individual post quality.
Wait, really? So a B- post every day beats an A+ post once a month?
Mathematically, yes.
Yeah.
The algorithm wants reliability. It needs to know that if it directs a user to your profile, you are going to keep that user on the platform with a steady stream of inventory.
That is fascinating because it's not just about feeding server architecture, right? It's about hacking human psychology.
Precisely. You are training the human being on the other side of the screen.
So how does that habituation actually work for the viewer?
Well, consider the behavioral patterns. Consistency builds deep neurological habits in your audience.
Like reaching for your phone as soon as you wake up.
Right. When followers know exactly when to expect new content from you, maybe you are the account they always read with their morning coffee.
Oh, I definitely have a few of those.
See? You engage more deeply with them. The metrics show that these habituated audiences save, share, and comment at much higher rates compared to casual followers of inconsistent accounts.
You are essentially habituating your audience. You become a fixture in their daily digital routine.
Exactly. That habituation is arguably the most reliable growth mechanism any creator can leverage.
And you cannot achieve it if you only post when you feel inspired.
No, you'll just be forgotten in the noise.
All right, so we've swapped the daily slog for the batching model. We understand that the system is the secret.
And that consistency is the currency.
Right, so we need to build a factory that separates creation from distribution. But to do that, we need to look at the exact machinery running inside that factory.
We need to outfit your specific workspace.
And this is where I think most people completely freeze up.
Oh, the tool fatigue is so real right now.
It's overwhelming. If you search for AI content tools today, you will be hit with thousands of options.
All promising to magically do the work for you.
Yeah, click one button and get rich. It's exhausting.
But the crucial guidance we are looking at from the source today isn't to go out and subscribe to dozens of platforms.
Okay, good. My wallet appreciates that.
It is about understanding the core tech stack and mastering a highly focused few.
The blueprint organizes this into 4 distinct departments on the factory floor. We have idea and scripting tools, visual generation, captions and hashtags, and scheduling and automation.
Let's walk through the actual machinery, starting with Department 1,
Mm.
ideas and scripting.
Okay, the foundational engine here is still ChatGPT, right?
It is. Despite all the new entrants, it remains the most versatile starting point for pure ideation.
It's just so accessible.
Right, it acts as an incredibly fast brainstorming partner. You can feed it a brief description of your niche, outline your target audience's pain points, and have it generate a month's worth of post concepts in seconds.
But the landscape has nuanced significantly, and the blueprint specifically highlights Claude for a very particular reason.
Yes, Claude is fascinating when it comes to tone.
Yeah, because if you are writing a long-form YouTube script or a deep dive newsletter where you really need a conversational, human-sounding flow, Claude is structurally better.
It really is. It tends to avoid that highly synthetic, slightly robotic cadence that ChatGPT sometimes falls into.
You know exactly what I mean, that weird, formal summary at the end of every ChatGPT response. In conclusion, the tapestry of life.
Yes, in a rapidly evolving digital landscape,
Yeah.
Claude mostly avoids that. That distinction is vital. You use the right tool for the specific output.
And then you have Jasper, which operates on a totally different logic.
Jasper is interesting. It's less of an open sandbox and more of a dedicated content marketing framework.
So it's more for actual businesses.
Exactly. Under the hood, it has specific brand voice settings and built-in templates tailored for social media marketers.
Like if I'm running an e-commerce brand.
Right, and you need to generate 50 variations of a Facebook ad copy that adhere to strict marketing frameworks like ADA.
Attention, interest, desire, action.
Exactly. Jasper provides that structure straight out of the box. You don't have to prompt engineer it from scratch.
That saves a ton of time. But for figuring out what to actually talk about in the first place, there's AM for the public. I absolutely love the mechanics of this tool.
It is so incredibly useful for avoiding the echo chamber.
Because instead of just guessing what your audience might find interesting, it aggregates search engine autocomplete data.
It surfaces the exact, literal questions that real human beings are actively typing into Google regarding your niche.
It maps out real search intent, which is incredibly powerful.
You aren't operating in a vacuum or relying on assumptions anymore.
So give me an example. How would I use it?
Let's say you run a channel about indoor gardening. You don't just guess that people want to know about soil pH.
Right, because maybe they don't care.
Exactly. But Answer the Public tells you that 5,000 people today specifically asked, why are my Monstera leaves turning brown at the edges?
Oh, wow. That's so specific.
Right, so you take that exact question, feed it into Claude, and you have a script answering a guaranteed demand.
That is brilliant. Okay, so we have the ideas and the scripts. Now we move to Department 2, visual generation.
This is the shiny stuff.
This is the aesthetic layer that actually stops a user's thumb from scrolling past.
And visual output used to be the biggest bottleneck for traditional creators.
Oh yeah, setting up lights, getting a camera, editing, it takes hours.
But it's the core advantage of an AI production system. And the leading tool for high-quality, highly stylized visual content remains Midjourney.
It really does. The stuff coming out of Midjourney is mind-blowing.
The way Midjourney's diffusion models are trained gives it a very specific, polished, almost editorial aesthetic bias.
It always looks like it belongs in a magazine.
Exactly. It is widely used for creating striking Instagram feed posts, intricate carousel backgrounds, and highly clickable YouTube thumbnails.
But, and I know a lot of people feel this way, Midjourney operates in Discord.
Yes, which can be clunky.
It requires specific prompting language, and honestly, sometimes it's almost too stylized. Like, it doesn't look like a real photo.
That's a very fair critique. If you need something more literal, or if you prioritize absolute speed, you pivot to DALL-E.
Because the massive advantage DALL-E has is its native integration with ChatGPT.
Right, you don't even have to switch tabs.
You can literally write your script and say, now generate an image of a frustrated office worker staring at a blank laptop to go with this post, all in the exact same chat window.
The workflow friction is zero. And when you're batching, speed is often more valuable than absolute perfection.
Makes sense. Now, what about video? When we transition from static images to short-form video, the conversation shifts entirely to CapCut, right?
It is frankly astounding how dominant CapCut has become for short-form content.
It's everywhere. Every TikTok you see basically has that CapCut template link at the bottom.
And it's because it systematically removes the technical barriers of traditional nonlinear video editing.
Like Premiere Pro or Final Cut, which take months to learn.
Right. CapCut handles auto captions with incredible accuracy. It has built-in AI effects. It tracks trending audio.
And it integrates directly into the TikTok and Instagram ecosystems.
You aren't manually scrubbing a timeline trying to perfectly sync a jump cut to a snare drum hit anymore.
Thank goodness, that used to drive me crazy.
You just drop your clips into a trending CapCut template, and its AI maps the cuts to the beat automatically.
But if you want to push into truly professional, generative video territory, like actually creating video from thin air, that's where Runway ML enters the stack.
Runway represents the absolute bleeding edge right now.
We are talking about text-to-video and image-to-video generation.
Right. You take a still image you generated in Midjourney, thrown in a Runway, and tell the AI to make the water ripple.
Or make the camera pan slowly to the right.
Or have the clouds drift across the sky. Creators are using this to build cinematic B-roll and high production value reels without ever picking up a camera.
It's wild. And rounding out the visual department is what I call the great synthesizer, Canva AI.
Oh, Canva. It has evolved so much from just being a simple template editor.
It really is a comprehensive visual hub now.
It includes its own AI image generation, single-click background removal, and those magic edit features.
It is basically the centralized location where your Midjourney art, your text, and your brand colors all come together to form the final packaged asset.
Exactly. It's the glue holding the visual department together.
All right, Department 3. We have the script, we have the stunning visuals, but you can't just throw art into the algorithmic void.
No, the platforms need metadata to know who to serve your content to.
We need the wrapping paper, captions, and hashtags.
Once again, ChatGPT can function as your multi-tool here.
If you give it a highly structured prompt, it will output a caption with a hook, body copy, a call to action, and relevant tags.
But for those wanting specialized optimization, the blueprint points to tools like Predis.ai.
Predis acts as a dedicated social media brain, right?
Yes. You give a one-sentence brief, and it actually analyzes competitor data to generate captions, hashtags, and even complete post designs optimized for specific platforms.
And for pure discoverability, there's Flick. I find Flick really fascinating because it doesn't just guess hashtags.
No, it's an AI hashtag research tool that analyzes the live Instagram and TikTok graphs.
So it knows what's actually working today.
Exactly. It identifies niche-relevant hashtags that are actively driving reach right now, filtering out the overly saturated tags where your post would just get buried.
Because if you just use hashtag fitness, you're competing with millions of posts.
You'll be invisible in seconds.
And we should also mention WriteSonic, which is built around customizable caption templates.
WriteSonic is great because it allows you to create specific brand personas.
You can dial in the exact tone parameters so your LinkedIn posts sound authoritative and data-driven.
While your TikTok captions sound native, casual, and trend-aware.
Perfect. Finally, Department 4, scheduling and automation. Because remember, we are batching.
We are not setting alarms to manually hit publish at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday.
God, no. The primary players here are Later, which is incredibly strong for visual planning.
Yeah, you can literally drag and drop your Instagram grid to see how it looks aesthetically before publishing.
And it uses AI to predict your specific audience's active hours.
Then there is Buffer, which is favored for its minimalist, clean interface, and seamless multi-platform support.
Metricool is highly recommended for beginners, right?
Yes, because its free tier is incredibly robust. It offers cross-platform scheduling alongside deep competitor benchmarking.
And for massive enterprise-grade operations managing dozens of accounts, Hootsuite remains the standard for bulk scheduling.
Exactly.
Okay, hold on. Let's stop the tape for a second.
What's up?
Because I am putting myself in the shoes of someone listening to this deep dive who just wants to start a page about, like, their woodworking hobby.
Okay.
We just listed ChatGPT, Claude, Jasper, Answer the Public, Midjourney, DALL-E, CapCut, Runway, Canva, Predis, Flick, WriteSonic, Later, Buffer, Metricool, and Hootsuite.
That is quite the list.
You're telling me I need all this
Yeah.
because I am instantly paralyzed. I'm closing my laptop.
Right.
How does anyone actually start without needing a degree in prompt engineering and a massive software budget? This sounds like a recipe for total decision fatigue.
I am so glad you pulled that ripcord, because that exact feeling of overwhelm is the trap that catches 90% of beginners.
It's just too much.
The blueprint we are analyzing explicitly warns against trying to build a 20-tool ecosystem.
Oh, thank God.
The secret of the top AI influencers isn't that they use every tool. It's that they deeply master a very small selection. The overarching philosophy here is the 5-tool stack.
So you actively ignore most of what's out there?
Absolutely ignore it. You must view the tool merely as a lever. Deep mastery of a simple 5-tool system will always, unequivocally outperform a chaotic approach where you are constantly switching between 20 different beta platforms.
Because you spend all your time just learning interfaces instead of making content.
Exactly. You pick 1 or 2 tools per category and you lock it in.
So to de-escalate that panic for you listening right now, a perfect, incredibly powerful beginner stack could literally just be this.
Let's hear it.
You use ChatGPT to brainstorm your ideas and write the text.
Yep. 1.
You use Midjourney to generate your aesthetic images.
2.
You use CapCut if you want to stitch a quick video together.
3.
You use Canva to slap your specific fonts and logo on those images.
4.
And you use Later to schedule it all. Boom. 5 tools. Factory built.
And you don't look at anything else until you are actually generating revenue.
That is so freeing. Just 5 tools.
Precisely. That specific 5-tool stack is capable of producing top 1% content. The limitation won't be the software anymore. It will be your execution.
Which perfectly transitions us to the execution phase. We have the blueprint, and we have fully outfitted our streamlined factory with our 5-tool stack.
Have to turn the machines on.
Exactly. Let's walk through what this actually looks like in practice. I want to take you, the listener, step by step through a live batching session.
How does a blank screen on a Sunday afternoon transform into an entire week's worth of high-performing content?
Right. The operational system breaks this down into a highly specific 5-step assembly line.
Step 1 is generating the ideas and the scripts. And the crucial detail here is that you do not just open ChatGPT, stare at the blinking cursor, and type, "Give me some post ideas for a fitness account."
Right, because what happens when you do that?
It yields generic, unusable garbage. You get things like, post a picture of a dumbbell and say, "Happy Monday."
Nobody is engaging with that.
No one. You have to engineer the prompt to force the AI to build an actionable framework.
The recommended starting prompt structure from the source is highly specific. You tell the LLM, act as an expert social media strategist. Give me 5 unique content ideas for insert your exact niche account on insert-specific platform.
But you don't stop there.
No, you add. For each idea, provide a working title, a 3-bullet content outline, and a suggested high-retention hook for the caption or video opening.
I love the constraint in that prompt. By demanding a working title, a bulleted outline, and a hook, you aren't getting abstract concepts.
You are getting structural blueprints for 5 distinct pieces of content.
And let's say you were focusing on video. The next prompt in the sequence is even more rigid.
You take one of those ideas and feed it back, saying, write a 30-second script for a TikTok video about this topic. Start with a contrarian hook, keep the pacing incredibly fast, use everyday language, and end with a clear call to action directing them to the link in my bio.
That contrarian hook is key, by the way. It stops the scroll. And an essential habit in step 1, you will inevitably generate more ideas than you can produce in one session.
Yeah, ChatGPT might give you 10 great ideas, but you only need 5 for the week.
Exactly. Do not throw the excess away.
Yeah.
You immediately copy all unused ideas and drop them into a dedicated content bank document.
Oh, that's smart.
Because next Sunday, when you sit down to batch, you won't even need to prompt for ideas. You just open the bank. You completely eliminate the blank page syndrome.
So we have our scripts and our outlines. We move down the assembly line to step 2, creating the visuals.
Right. If we are building static posts, say an Instagram carousel, we take the visual concepts from our outline and bring them into Midjourney.
We use detailed prompts to generate the specific background textures, the abstract illustrations, or the character designs we need.
And if the format is video, this is where CapCut does the heavy lifting.
You take the audio voiceover, whether you recorded it yourself or generated it via an AI voice tool like 11 Labs, and import it.
You pull in the visual assets you just generated. You select a trending template or use CapCut's auto-edit features to slice the media to the beat of the audio.
The AI handles the micro adjustments that make short-form video feel dynamic and engaging.
Which brings us to step 3, editing and branding. This is where the raw, somewhat disconnected materials become unmistakably yours.
You take those Midjourney images, which are beautiful but they're kind of blank, and pull them into Canva.
You apply your brand kit. You overlay your specific typography, your locked-in brand colors, your subtle watermark.
But there is a tactical insight here that I think is the most valuable piece of design advice in the entire process.
You were referring to the thumbnail scale rule, right?
Yes. I have to share a quick story because I have personally fallen victim to this exact trap.
Oh, please do. We've all been there.
I once spent, I kid you not, 3 hours meticulously designing an infographic in Canva.
3 hours.
Yes, I was on my massive desktop monitor, tweaking the drop shadows, aligning the secondary text perfectly. It looked like a masterpiece.
I can picture it.
I exported it, posted it, and then an hour later I looked at it on my iPhone while scrolling through my feed.
Now, let me guess.
It was completely unreadable. The text looked like tiny gray smudges. I had designed for a billboard, but social media is a postage stamp.
It is a painful lesson, but a necessary one.
It hurt my soul.
The standard operating procedure dictates that before you finalize any visual asset, you must zoom out until the image is the exact physical size of a phone screen on your monitor.
If the hook is not instantly legible, if the primary visual doesn't pop at that miniature scale, it fails.
Because the algorithm is going to serve your post sandwiched between a high-speed dance trend and a flashy advertisement.
If your design requires the user to squint, they will just keep scrolling. Designing for context is what separates amateur content from professional output, so the visuals are locked, branded, and scaled correctly. Step 4 is writing the final captions and hashtags.
We take our approved topic back to our LLM. We prompt it for a specific tone. Maybe we want it to sound witty and analytical.
We ask for 2 short paragraphs of value, a question to drive comments, and a block of optimized hashtags.
But right here, right before the finish line, the assembly line requires a mandatory manual intervention.
This is the critical juncture of the entire system. You cannot just copy and paste the output.
The blueprint demands what it terms light personalization.
You must read the AI-generated caption and inject at least one specific human detail that the AI couldn't possibly know or invent authentically.
This is my favorite part because it totally reframes the relationship with the technology.
The way I visualize it is a high-end restaurant kitchen.
Oh, I like this. Walk me through it.
The AI is your sous chef. It's in the back, it's chopping 50 pounds of onions, it's reducing the stock, it's doing all the repetitive, labor-intensive prep work that would otherwise consume your entire day.
Right.
But the sous chef does not plate the food for the customer. You are the executive chef. You stand at the pass.
You taste the sauce.
Exactly. You taste the sauce, you add a pinch of salt, you squeeze a bit of fresh lemon over it, and you place the final garnish before it goes out to the dining room.
That analogy captures the dynamic perfectly. And we really need to explore why this step is so vital.
Because it defends against the greatest threat to an AI influencer, doesn't it?
Yes, the uncanny valley of content.
The source material is adamant that fully automated content, meaning workflows where scripts go straight to video and captions go straight to the scheduler without human review, consistently, predictably underperforms over a long enough timeline.
Because it's generic. It feels sterile. The audience can subconsciously smell it.
They know it's not real.
Exactly. When everything is perfect, grammatically flawless, and logically structured, it lacks friction. And human communication has friction.
We use slang incorrectly, we reference weird micro-experiences, we share subjective, messy opinions.
If your caption is just a perfectly sanitized list of facts, it reads like a Wikipedia entry, not a social media post.
And nobody goes to TikTok to read Wikipedia.
Right. Injecting a quick story about how your dog spilled coffee on your keyboard this morning, or referencing a movie that came out yesterday, acts as an authenticity anchor.
It proves there is a human pilot navigating the AI ship.
That human judgment and personalization and quality control is the absolute boundary between easily ignorable spam and genuinely engaging media.
Which naturally leads us to step 5, scheduling.
You take this beautifully seasoned, human-approved content, complete with its legible visuals and personalized caption, and you upload it to your scheduling tool.
Later, Buffer, Metricool, whichever we chose.
You utilize their analytics to slot the post into the exact window when your specific audience is most active online.
But your Sunday session isn't over when you hit schedule, is it?
No, there is one final administrative task that wraps it up. You must log the output.
You open a simple spreadsheet and document the date, the content format. Was it a carousel or a reel?
The core topic and the hook you used. It takes 60 seconds.
But those 60 seconds generate the historical ledger you will desperately need in a month to run analytics and figure out what is actually driving your growth.
All right, the factory is fully operational. The assembly line is humming.
But if we want to truly maximize our reach and leverage the algorithmic landscape of 2026, we can't just blindly manufacture the exact same widget over and over again.
We can't just post static images every day and hope for the best.
We have to manufacture the right mix of products to capture different types of attention. Let's examine the content ecosystem.
The architecture of a successful account relies on a diversified portfolio of content formats.
Each engineered to trigger a specific algorithmic response and serve a different psychological purpose for the audience.
The foundation of this ecosystem, particularly on Instagram or LinkedIn, is the carousel.
The multi-slide post, the permanent record on your grid.
Precisely. The carousel is a high-value delivery mechanism. Because the user has to actively swipe through multiple slides to consume the information, it drastically increases their time on screen metric.
Which is a massive positive signal to the algorithm. The platform thinks, oh, they're staring at this for a long time, it must be good.
Furthermore, well-structured carousels, like a step-by-step tutorial or a breakdown of a complex topic, earn exceptionally high save rates.
And a save is better than a like, right?
Oh, way better. When a user saves your post, they're essentially telling the platform, this is so valuable, I want to reference it later.
The algorithm interprets a save as the highest form of endorsement and pushes your content to wider audiences.
And to support those deep value permanent posts, you layer stories on top.
Stories are ephemeral, but they are crucial for daily touchpoints. You aren't creating highly produced art here.
No, you are using basic Canva templates to drop a quick poll, a question box, or an emoji slider.
It's entirely about keeping your profile picture illuminated with that little colored ring at the very top of your followers' app interface every single day.
It maintains the habituation we discussed earlier. You stay top of mind.
But if your goal isn't just maintaining your current audience, but achieving explosive exponential growth, you must look at short-form video.
TikToks, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts. This format is the absolute apex of algorithmic discovery.
And the reason is structural, right? It's the difference between a social graph and an interest graph.
Exactly. When you post a picture on your feed, it mostly goes to people who already follow you in your social graph.
But the For You page on TikTok or the Reels feed on Instagram is designed specifically to feed content directly to non-followers based on their interests.
That is the magic of short-form video. It is an outward-facing net. Both platforms actively test your video against small cohorts of strangers.
If it resonates with 10 people, they show it to 100. If it hits 100, they show it to 1,000.
They expand the pool rapidly. A single reel that hits the right algorithmic triggers can generate more new followers in 24 hours than 3 months of posting static images to your existing followers.
And because you are utilizing the AI workflow, scripting the hook with Claude, editing seamlessly with CapCut, the actual production friction is incredibly low.
A 20-minute investment can yield massive outsized returns.
That asymmetrical return on time is the holy grail. But as I was reading through this ecosystem breakdown in the source material, there was one specific format that really caught my eye.
Let me guess. The BTS.
Yes. Behind-the-scenes content. It feels completely counterintuitive. The blueprint notes that showing the unpolished, messy reality of the AI generation process is highly effective for humanizing the account.
It is remarkably effective, and honestly, it requires the absolute lowest production effort of anything we've discussed.
You are literally just running a screen recorder while you type a prompt into Midjourney.
Or showing the messy timeline in CapCut before you hit export.
I find the psychology of this fascinating. Think about the irony here for a second.
It's very ironic.
You are running an AI influencer account. The entire entity is built on the premise of artificial generation, synthetic media, and flawlessly polished output. That is the core product.
Right.
Yet the absolute most engaging, loyalty-building content you can produce is showing the deeply human, error-prone, real-world process of fumbling around with those tools.
If we look deeper into why humans consume media, it makes perfect sense. We are driven by curiosity and a profound desire for connection.
We want to see how the sausage is made.
Exactly. In a digital environment that is rapidly becoming saturated with flawless, hyper-perfect AI graphics, perfection actually becomes boring.
It becomes commoditized. If everyone is perfect, perfect is the new average.
The lo-fi, authentic process walkthrough acts as a palate cleanser for the audience. Transparency builds a profound bridge of trust.
By pulling back the curtain and showing the prompt engineering, the mistakes, the iterations, you are proving that there is a human intellect driving the machine.
It transitions the audience's appreciation from just the final image to the process of creation itself.
And speaking of driving the machine with intent, the final pillar of this content ecosystem is promotional and collaboration content.
Because ultimately, for the vast majority of these creators, this isn't just an art project. It is a business. The end goal is monetization.
As your audience metrics grow, sponsored content, brand deals, and affiliate promotions inevitably become the primary revenue streams.
And the beautiful part of the AI system you've built is that it adapts seamlessly to commerce.
If a brand sends you a specific product brief with strict messaging guidelines, you don't have to stress about how to integrate it.
You feed their exact constraints into Jasper or ChatGPT and instruct it to generate compliant ad copy that still matches your established brand voice.
You drop their provided high-res product shots into your Canva templates to produce polished, natively integrated sponsored graphics.
The factory handles monetization just as efficiently as it handles organic growth.
Okay, you have the engine. You've ruthlessly refined your 5-tool stack. You are manufacturing a highly optimized mix of carousels for saves, short-form video for discovery, and behind-the-scenes content for trust.
The machine is built.
But how do you prevent yourself from burning out and walking away from the machine after 30 days? How do we transition from daily tactics to long-term sustainable strategy?
This is where we elevate from creator to operator. The final sections of the blueprint are dedicated entirely to master habits.
Because burnout is the great equalizer. It doesn't matter how good your prompts are if you quit in month 2.
And the most critical habit, the absolute non-negotiable cornerstone of sustainability, is formalizing that batching process we introduced at the very beginning.
It has to be treated like an immutable appointment on your calendar.
The blueprint prescribes 1 to 2 specific sessions a week, blocking out roughly 60 to 90 minutes each.
You sit down, you silence your phone, you open your tools, and you execute the assembly line for the entire next week in one continuous, uninterrupted sequence.
You write all 5 scripts first, then you generate all 5 visual sets. Then you write all 5 captions.
You do not mix the tasks. Like, don't write a script, then make its image, then write its caption, and then go back to the next script.
Exactly. The psychological reasoning here is rooted in minimizing what is called the cognitive switching penalty.
The what?
The cognitive switching penalty. Every time you switch from a creative task like writing a hook to a technical task, like formatting a timeline in CapCut, your brain burns energy to recalibrate to the new context.
Oh, that makes so much sense. It takes a minute to get in the zone for a new task.
Right. If you do that every day, you drain your reserves rapidly. By batching entirely by task, doing all the writing at once, then all the designing at once, you enter a deep state of flow.
You only pay that cognitive startup tax once a week.
The operational data suggests this habit alone recovers 30 to 60 minutes of wasted transitional working time every single week.
And to make that flow state even deeper, you must rely heavily on templates and reusable prompts. You don't rebuild the wheel every Sunday.
You establish your Canva brand kit immediately, so you are never, ever staring at a blank white square trying to decide what font looks good today.
But more importantly, you build a prompt library.
Yes, a prompt library is your intellectual property.
When you engineer a prompt in ChatGPT that outputs exactly the tone and structure you want, or you discover a string of descriptive words in Midjourney that creates your exact desired aesthetic, you save it in a master document.
Reusing a proven, highly engineered prompt is infinitely faster than typing a new one from scratch, and it guarantees that your output remains consistent.
The blueprint advises treating this library like software. Review and update your prompts every few weeks. If an LLM update changes how it responds, you tweak the prompt and save the new version.
And how do you know it needs tweaking? Performance tracking.
The overarching rule is that a content routine without tracking is basically just a digital diary.
You have to let the hard data dictate your batching sessions. You must remove your ego from the output.
During your daily micro session or right before your Sunday batching, you look at your scheduling dashboard, your later or metrical analytics. You are looking for asymmetrical returns.
The blueprint offers a stark example. If your data shows that carousel posts published on Tuesday mornings earn significantly more saves and profile visits than single images posted on Thursdays,
You do not stubbornly keep posting single images on Thursdays just because you like making them.
you pivot immediately. You restructure your next batching session to prioritize what is actually working.
Real empirical audience data must always override generic best practices or your personal preference for a certain format.
Alongside that ruthless data optimization, you have to maintain strict visual consistency.
We're talking about locking in a specific color palette, using the exact same 2 fonts for every piece of text and utilizing highly specific style descriptors in your image prompts so every piece of art feels like it belongs in the same universe.
Humans are incredibly visual creatures,
Mm.
and visual coherence is a proxy for professionalism.
When a new user discovers your reel and clicks through your profile, they make a split-second judgment based on the grid.
If it looks chaotic, different fonts, clashing colors, shifting aesthetics, it signals amateurism. If it looks cohesive and intentional, it instantly elevates your perceived authority.
Visual consistency is actually more important than the sheer novelty of your ideas when you are trying to convince a stranger to hit the follow button.
And that brings us to the ultimate, most practical piece of advice for the listener today.
If you are sitting there listening to us, inspired, ready to build your factory, you need to hear the beginner's commitment. Because the temptation is to launch a YouTube channel, a TikTok, an Instagram, a LinkedIn, and a newsletter all on day one.
Do not do that. It is the fastest route to failure. The commitment is narrow and deep. You pick one single platform.
You pick one specific format. Maybe you commit entirely to Instagram carousels or exclusively to YouTube Shorts.
You pick one frequency that you can comfortably maintain, even on your worst week.
And you commit to that exact parameter and absolutely nothing else for 30 days.
It's exactly like building muscle memory when you start going to the gym.
Think about that experience. The first week you walk in, you spend half your time just wandering around, staring at the machines, trying to figure out how to adjust the seat, reading the little instructional diagrams on the side of the weight stack.
Every movement takes intense concentration. It feels clunky and exhausting.
But if you do the exact same circuit consistently, by week 4, you aren't even consciously thinking about the seat adjustments. Your body just knows the routine.
The workflow has become invisible, and you are just executing.
That is the perfect synthesis of the entire philosophy we've explored today.
The creators who win the attention economy in 2026 are not the ones who possess the most expensive, highly sophisticated enterprise software.
They are the ones who commit to a simple, ruthlessly repeatable workflow.
They use data to iterate, and they turn what might start as a chaotic, overwhelming creative hobby into a reliable, sustainable, friction-free business system.
Okay, let's bring this all home and recap the blueprint. Today, we have completely discarded the exhausting myth of the daily grind and replaced it with the efficiency of weekly batching.
We've cut through the noise of 1,000 software options to highlight a minimalist, highly effective 5-tool stack.
We walked step by step through the 5-step assembly line, showing exactly how to transform a blank screen into a week of high-value content using specific prompts and the critical thumbnail scale rule.
We explore the ecosystem of carousels and short-form video, and we outline the master habits batching, templating, and data tracking required to keep your factory running without burning it to the ground.
But as we step back and look at this highly efficient, AI-driven future we are entering, it raises a profound question that I want to leave you pondering.
If we extrapolate this trend just a few years out, and we assume these generative AI tools become so incredibly ubiquitous, so frictionless, that absolutely anyone on Earth can generate a flawless, highly polished, visually stunning video or essay in 3 minutes.
What happens to the definition of valuable content? That is the existential question of the creator economy.
Exactly, because historically, high production value was the moat. It proved you invested time and resources.
But if technical execution and polish are no longer a barrier to entry, if perfection becomes a free commodity, then perfection loses its value.
When that happens, perhaps the only true currency left for an audience to trade on will be your unique perspective.
It won't be how clean your video edits are. It will be the messy, unautomatable human experiences you share, the weird personal anecdotes that inform your opinions.
And the deeply subjective worldview that no AI prompt, no matter how perfectly engineered, can ever truly simulate.
Wow. So in a world where everyone has access to the exact same magic wand, the real magic isn't the trick itself. The real magic is the very human magician choosing why to perform it. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
It was a pleasure to break this down.
Your mission now is clear and simple. Pick your one platform, pick your one format, fire up your 5 tools, and start building your own system today. We will see you next time.
Thank you for listening to AI Creator World Podcast. If you found this episode valuable, make sure to follow the podcast, subscribe on YouTube, and share this episode with another creator who is building their future online. For deeper guides, AI tools, and step-by-step growth strategies, visit our website at aicreatorworld.net. And remember, In the age of artificial intelligence, creators who learn faster will lead the future. See you in the next episode. Bye!